Hey guys, welcome back to the FSF podcast. I'm Tim. I am your host, and this is your reminder that you are watching and or listening to the show that is made by nerds for nerds. Now, hey, our guest in the nerdatorium today is the league leader in visits to the show. No one else has even close to what he's going to accomplish today. So this is his fourth visit. So either he's a glutton for punishment or he just likes our specific brand of nerdery. Either way, I'm thrilled to have him back. Now, tonight we're going to talk with him about his work as a screenwriter, his latest novel, Gyro and the Argonauts, because that is a book that you very much need to go buy and make it part of your collection. I'm listening to it on Audible right now, and I can't. I'm so close to having the book finished that I can't wait to finish it so I can start over again. That's how good it is. But I'm a huge fan of this man's work, and he's got some other literary works in progress and some other fun things that we can discover along the way. So please help me welcome back New York Times best-selling author, and he's got one of those really cool gold awards. He's an Emmy winner, folks. Emmy winner Josh Pruett back to the FSF podcast. Welcome back to the show, Josh.
Four-timer.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
yes,
Tim,
sir.
Thanks for having me back.
I'm so excited that you said yes to a fourth time, and I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, he did it. He's gonna do it. I don't know why, but he's doing it. Yes. So, yeah, I am legitimately very excited to talk with you tonight because I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm a big fan of Gyro and the Argonauts. I love the alternate
Thank you
title.
for listening to most of it.
Yeah. You know, between work and everything else, I'm trying to squeeze in book listening time, and I am. But so
I'm grateful.
You know,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is so listening to it, and I'm listening. We're going to get into this in a minute. I love the narrator and the work that the narrator does, because now a secret wish of mine is that at some point I'm going to be able to get into book narration. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And so I was reading. I actually the digital copy that you sent me, I was practicing reading that the intro chapters and everything because I love your writing style, and there was things that you were doing in the writing that were making me laugh out loud, and I was just having so much fun with the book. And then I was like, I got to get this on digital because I just don't have the patience to sit down and read like I used to.
Yeah.
It's more of a time issue than anything.
Sure.
Really, you know.
Yeah.
So Audible is like my best friend right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been kicking butt with Audible. So it helps me, you know, and as one of my buddies always reminds me is that listening is still reading. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Absolutely. I'm listening to Stephen King's It right now, and I'm like
perfect
700-800 pages in, and that would have been a different lift for me, hour-wise, time-wise.
Oh yeah.
If just sitting down, I would have fallen asleep, right? Like not because it's not interesting, but because I'm nearly 48 years old, and this is what happens when you sit down and read.
And you're busy and all the other things, and trying to find the time to sit down and read is a whole nother topic.
Absolutely. But I'm glad you're enjoying it because I actually I'm so thrilled with how the audiobook turned out.
It should be.
My buddy Joe Sanfilippo is the narrator, and I tell you what, he got the tone of this thing so fast. So when you're saying that, like, you can hear like that, like that's what it sounded like in my head, and then Joe actually made it better. Like we had this opportunity to add other actors. My friend Fina Sanchez is an actor who does Medusa, and then Gail Chaland does Heracles, and my buddy Ryan Demery does the music. I mean, it's kind of like the ultimate version of the book. Like, obviously, I want folks to read the book, definitely.
Sure.
But I feel like if you're an audiobook person, like we've got sound effects, we've got a full score. Like I think we're painting a whole different level of that picture.
For sure.
But yeah, Joe really sets tone on that thing, man.
He's nailing it, man. Honestly.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
One of the things I liked about the audiobook version of this is that so I listen to a lot of Star Wars books because I love the fact that the Star Wars books are like a full on audio drama.
Yes. Yeah. Audio drama. Yeah.
It's all the sound effects and the music and all the things that help the parts of your brain kind of tie in and go, oh yeah, yeah,
That's it.
and I feel that's very much what's going on with the audiobook for this, between the narration style, the actors, who the voice actor who's playing Gyro is fantastic. I
Yeah,
love
he's
the little
amazing.
cracks,
Joe's amazing.
the little cracks in his voice and the little squeaks and everything. Is just, he's doing such a good job of portraying a small, a small guy. And it's just,
when we talked about it initially, we were talking about like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, like that kind of energy,
okay.
and like that sort of exuberance, and the having that youth where it's not pitched up so high that it's like a helium balloon, but the idea of like, no, he's just young and enthusiastic,
Yeah, no, yeah, then that's spot on. The Michael J. Fox analogy is perfect. That really does nail it. It really
the energy
does.
is right. I think the energy is right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about this. Give me the background on this book.
Yeah.
Where did the idea come from? And tell the audience a little bit about the book without, obviously without giving spoilers, so that they'd.
Yeah, so this one has maybe the longest kind of creative development of anything I've ever worked on.
Okay.
Because I started writing it when I was like 19 years old as a movie. So it literally took over kind of 26, 27 years to kind of come to fruition. It's had a long story. But essentially the story of Gyro and the Argonauts, or the best book ever written about a kid named after a sandwich, is about the first Greek geek in history, who ends up joining his heroes, the Argonauts, who were kind of like the Avengers, if the Avengers were jerks. And the problem is that Gyro doesn't know that. He just worships them.
Right.
And when he gets a chance to join them, they pretty much try to kill him as soon as possible by sacrificing him to the Cyclops or the Minotaur. And eventually he ends up meeting Medusa herself, who's very much not dead. And instead of him getting eaten or killed by them, he befriends the monsters and discovers that they're the only ones with any sort of mythic dignity at all. And together they kind of turn the tables on the mythology that we've all taken for granted. And really it's about, do you believe everything the poets tell you? And so it has like an educational plot to it. It's very funny, but there is some definite heart to it. And it's what happens when you put your heroes on a pedestal. They fall and they're gonna break your heart. And a lot of this I didn't know until I had finished writing it, but a lot of this is actually based on my time in animation, where I had the chance to meet and work with some of my heroes, and I discovered that they had feet of clay. And that was a major revelation for me. And some of the, not very supportive characters in this book are based on real people that I interacted with. And I discovered at some point that you can't let other people dictate your story to you. But kind of the journey of this thing was writing it as a movie when I was in my teens and 20s, and was developing it for many years, and eventually pitched it as a movie at DreamWorks when I was there. And they hooked me up with my first literary agent, and they said, hey, we like the concept, but we're not really ready to buy it, but if you develop the story, let's revisit. So the concept was that I would connect with a literary agent and write this book. So I did. And when I submitted it to her, she didn't like the book and had also changed careers. So I said, oh, okay. And I actually, through my sister, ended up finding another agent, Deborah Warren, my literary agent, who agreed to represent the book. And it took quite a few years to find a home for it. And the irony was, it was literally the first book that I ever wrote. And it was my 10th or 12th published novel. And, I tell young people especially, but I have to remind myself periodically, is like, we're the only ones who care how long this takes. Like, the kids who read this book and enjoy it, nobody's going, oh, I'm really glad this took over 2 decades to put together, right? Like that doesn't occur to anybody. They just like it or they don't.
Right.
And so I think sometimes, especially for the creative folks who listen to you guys, it's like, if you want to be a creative person, it's like, we all want things the next day. And, the reality is these things take the time they take, and they're on their own trajectory. But writing this really gave me the confidence to do everything else that I did. So it's, everything kind of starts with Euro.
That's really cool background on that.
Thanks, man.
I knew that. Yeah, I knew that it had been out there for a while, with previous conversations with you and seeing some of your posts and things like that out on socials.
You bet.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, a long time. Actually, and not to bring the room down too much, but like, it actually all came, I lost my dad when I was like 19, and he's the guy who showed me all the Ray Harryhausen movies and Clash of the Titans, and he turned me on to visual effects, all those things. And so some of the impetus for this was, oh, hey, like, the time I have is precious, and I got to get moving. So I think certainly a lot of my ambition for being a creative person really was, I already wanted to do stuff and was doing things, but that certainly crystallized like, oh, I'm gonna crank this up a notch. And so on some level, like, this is a love letter to him as much as it is to my wife Amanda, who I dedicated the book to.
Oh, I think that's beautiful, man.
Thanks,
that's
man.
Really cool. So one of the things that I learned in this book, and I always love it when I can, even though it's, it's a fun book and it's, it's got humor, obviously it's got humor in it, and it's based on some real mythology characters and all these things. I learned something. And I think this is a common misconception out there in the world for anybody who doesn't really pay attention to the difference between Roman and Greek mythologies.
Yes.
Because that would be me.
Right. Okay? Yes. Which would be most people, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I did not realize that there was a difference between Hercules and Heracles.
Yes.
Because everything that I've ever seen, you never see Heracles. It's
never.
Always Hercules.
That's
Even
right.
for things that are supposed to be Greek mythology based, they always just go Hercules.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when I'm listening to the book and they start talking about Heracles, and I'm like, who the hell is Heracles?
Exactly.
Is that like, I'm like, is that like is that like their version or
right.
Is that like is that like the Temu version or what's going on here, man? So I had to do a Google dive. I had to go out and I did some reading about the differences between them. I mean, there's some differences, but not major.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, so basically it's just a slight difference in spelling and pronunciation. And
it's a trip, right? Because there isn't even a movie called Heracles. Everything is Hercules.
Everything is Hercules. And in fact, that's part of why I made Heracles a woman, is because I thought, oh, what's more like perfect for kind of the way these things get appropriated is if Heracles isn't even in charge of her own story. It's Hercules, her more famous Roman cousin, who's constantly stealing her thunder. And like, that just seemed like another great symbol for the kind of story I'm telling. Because part of the journey of this thing was being a kid and watching Clash of the Titans and being like, oh yeah, man, Perseus and, on Pegasus, the flying horse. This is the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life. 7 years old Josh on watching broadcast television. And then later on in my early teens, reading up on it and going, oh, Perseus never rode Pegasus. That was Bellerophon. Bellerophon, who's the tamer of beasts. I also
beasts.
learned that.
Yeah, man. It's like it starts opening up, and you're just like,
oh, for sure.
And that was part of the impetus for the story was, well, if I didn't know that, what else do I not know? And so that is part of what informed like Euro's educational plot. His transformation or evolution was just like, oh yeah, what if you're a kid and you think all these things about your heroes and you realize you're wrong? and like, you know, let's make that dumb and funny and put some heart in it. But like, it just, as soon as I had that notion, I went, oh yeah, there's a story here. Because I am obviously, as you've said, I'm not the only person who would have read those things and go, oh wait, this doesn't match. This isn't right. What?
Yeah. In fact, I thought you were making a play on the Greek goddess Hera. So
yes.
Hera,
Oh, right.
Heracles.
Yes.
That
right.
was the first place my mind went. I'm
Yep.
like, oh, he's just making a play on that. I'm like,
Yep.
clearly
Yep.
there's no Heracles, it's Hercules. And
one of the poets did it before me. One of those,
awesome.
right? Like they did, clearly.
Yeah, there's all these little touches to the book of things that I think are made as popular notions in movies, comics, video games, anything that has to do with Greek mythology that we consume in pop culture, where it's the candy store version of, hey, this is what it is, and here it is, and hope you like it. That aren't exactly accurate. Even in you know some of the more popular Greek themed movies, like the revision of Clash of the Titans and things like that. You know, I mean, in that movie, I mean, you know, Perseus rides Pegasus, and you know he's so it's kind of interesting.
We're all accustomed to that now, so everyone kind of takes it as rote. And I just thought it's like that. That's one of the incredible. I think that it's part of the longevity of Greek mythology is why people respond to it. Is there's a it's like a remix, right? It's like a cover of your favorite song, and you're like, oh, I also really like the cover. Or in the book, I talk about, you know, it's like when you hear a Weird Al song, and then hear the original later, the Weird Al lyrics are what's in your head. Like you know, you can't unhear it after the fact. You know,
for instance, there's the song "Riding Dirty." I always hear white and nerdy. It's just the way it is.
You can't help it. Yeah,
I can't. It's just it's part of the deal, man.
It's part of the deal.
All right. So as I told you pre-show, the writing of this book is just pure gold. I love your writing style. Honestly, your writing makes me laugh out loud in parts. And part of that is the way that the voice actors for this book are portraying things.
You bet.
The narrator, spot on, perfect. The other voice actors, the one who plays Euro, spot on, perfect.
Yeah.
So
that's the same guy, by the way. So the narrator, so Joe Sanfilippo, he's actually doing Euro and the narrator.
That's okay. That's even more incredible to me. Joe is one heck of a voice actor.
I love that you thought that was somebody. That's great, dude. Mission accomplished.
I had no clue.
No, that's great. That's great.
Kudos to Joe Sanfilippo because I had no clue that those were two different people. That's fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I will tell him.
Yeah, please do. So you had mentioned that, you know, some of the actors were friends of yours or things. So did you recruit them for this, or were they selected by the publishing house?
I did. I actually worked, and I had the chance to kind of co-produce this production with Charlie Upchurch, who worked with me at Andrews McMeel, and she and I are actually working on a new book that we're going to announce soon, which is very exciting, and we'll come back and talk to you about that. It's horror. It's my first adult horror book. But yeah, it was like a collaboration. You know, Charlie brought in Gail, who did Heracles, and Joe was my first pick because Joe had done, years ago as a favor, he had done a trailer for me. And it was one of these experiences where I had given him the script, and he read it without any notes from me, absolutely perfect. He got the timing, he knew what the voice needed to be. And it was like better, like I said, it was better than what was in my head. And so I was just like, oh gosh, like if I can do him a little bit of a solid and he does me a big favor, him doing the audiobook would be a dream. And so that's what we did. Yeah. And then also recruited my buddy Ryan Demery to do the score. And Ryan and I have known each other since like middle school. And he's a composer, and he also works in TV and film and post-production. Super talented guy. But you know, like no BS, like there's a couple of tracks in here that like made me cry when I listened to them. I just thought his music was so moving. And in fact, we actually added an audio track that you'll get to at the end that's just a suite of his music.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
It's
now
awesome.
I'm even more excited to get to the conclusion of the book.
Yeah. Hey, man, more incentive.
I dig that. That is very, very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, that just kind of blows my mind that he's both of those characters.
Yeah,
I honestly
great,
and truthfully thought that it was two different people. Really. Kudos to Joe. All right.
I love it.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, guys, if you haven't caught on by now, Gyro and the Argonauts is just a fantastic book. I'm having so much fun with it. And I'll put a link down below to places where you can go buy the book. But I would also recommend that if you're like me and you don't have time to sit down and read a book, even though this is not War and Peace length of a book. But even if you don't have time for that, the Audible audio version is just fantastic. Plus, you get to hear all the voice actors. It's a whole lot of fun.
It really adds a lot. It adds
it does.
Lot.
Yeah.
It
does, for sure.
And the book is really designed for reluctant readers. Like, it's shorter chapters. It's really aware of itself. So it's really good to read aloud to your kids. And yeah, it's great to also boost in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been playing it in the car. I have a short drive to work, but I've been listening to that. So I work on a car lot, and I run their social media. I'm always posting, so I'm always out on the lot, walking around, talking with customers. Always have one of these suckers, always listening to something. Yeah. So if I can do it when I'm out on the lot, when I know I'm not going to be interrupted, I'm listening to a book.
Yes. It's great,
so,
man.
Yeah,
it's great.
I'm getting paid to listen to Joshua Pruett. It's not a bad day.
Yes.
Score. Exactly. But so one of the reasons why I first got you on this show way back when in the initial visit, because he's on visit 4, guys, visit number 1. I got you on here because you were recommended by Dan Povenmire to come onto the show.
Yeah.
Dan said, "Hey, you got to talk with my buddy Josh. He's a writer on Phineas and Ferb. I think you guys would really hit it off and do well together." And and I've absolutely, I need to send Dan a thank you card.
He was wrong. Dan was so wrong.
That jerk recommend
Wow.
No, but
wrong.
So wrong about you. No, but it's so for those of you who aren't familiar, Josh is one of the writers on Phineas and Ferb, the television show, and that's how I got in touch with Josh, was through Dan Povenmire. And Dan recommended you very, very highly. Now, one of the things I'm excited about is that you and Scott Peterson have some Phineas and Ferb comics coming out.
Yes, and all of that's super exciting, except for the Scott Peterson part. He's terrible.
Well, yeah. Well, you can only have so much awesome. Any
opportunity I have to throw Scott under the bus is ideal.
I understand that wholeheartedly.
But yeah, man, this is huge, actually. So Scott Peterson is one of my dearest friends and writing partner for many years. Scott's a head writer and co-producer on the current run of Phineas and Ferb. Check us out on Disney Channel and Disney Plus, please. New episodes are on. Season 5, baby. And 6 is coming. And yeah, this thing came up, as the show was coming back. Everyone's really excited. We've got Funko Pops now, ladies and gentlemen. Good gracious. What is this world that we're living in?
They're going to be back here shortly.
Oh, man. Seeing those in real life, so cool. I am not exaggerating. But yeah, also comic books. So years ago, there was a Phineas and Ferb fan magazine. And Scott wrote, I think, over 100 comics for that magazine. Wow. They've been collected a couple times, but most recently, Mad Cave and Paper Cuts have picked up the rights from Disney. And the opportunity was new original stories. So this year, Scott and I actually pitched and did what would have been a free comic book day story. And free comic book day, as kind of some might know, has kind of started to crumble under some recent comic distribution issues. But that story was salvaged recently by our incredible team at Paper Cuts. Thank you, Chaz. And was part of a Scholastic exclusive. So for those of you with young kids who have those fantastic book fairs from Scholastic, you can pick up the Comic Bookinator, which features reprint Scott Peterson stories and a brand new 20-pager that Scott and I wrote.
Oh, cool.
So that's available at Scholastic. You can also buy it on their website. And we have, first time in the history of Phineas and Ferb, coming out later this year, an original comic graphic novel for Phineas and Ferb. I'm going to make sure I get the title right because I screwed up and did a long title again, Tim. The Amazing Creature double feature. And yes, this used to be longer, just like Shipwrecker's title. But yeah, an amazing creature, amazing creature double feature. Yeah. But it's an 80-page original graphic novel, 2 40-page stories. I wrote one, Scott wrote one, mine's funnier. And I can share today that it actually got a starred review in Kirkus.
I saw that.
Huge. Rave review, especially from them. But yeah, man, we're thrilled. And plans are afoot for more. And if Scott and I have our way, much more, and even some surprises down the line, because Scott and I are big comics guys. So I think if interest is clear in this book, and you can pre-order it now, it's on you can get it from your local retailer, pre-order there, or if you just search, I think it's on the Simon & Schuster website. If you search Amazing Creature double feature, it'll come up. Okay. But yeah, writing original comics like for Phineas is an absolute blast because it's really Scott and I unhinged. And for those of you who watch and enjoy the show, you might already have noticed that Scott and I are unhinged. So we are unhinged.
Unhinged times 2.
Times 2.
I love it. Yeah. You mentioned the Scholastic book fairs. All my kids have graduated school. And now I'm sitting here thinking, I used to love going with my kids to the book fairs.
Absolutely.
I'd always pick up these graphic novels. And I'm like, and my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, bedtime stories. I got to read something to the kids.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and they were great. They were great. Keep the kids' attention, keep dad's attention. And now I don't get to do those anymore. And I'm excited because so one of the things that's happened since you were on last, I've also, my oldest son and his wife had a child. So I'm also a grandfather now.
Congratulations.
And so, yeah. And so I'm excited because he likes to be read to.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah. So Papa Tim is going to get some Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, buddy. And I want to hear those voices. Let's go. Let's make it happen. So that would be great, man. You can do all the voices. I mean, I think you're going to be really good at Ferb. It's going to be great.
I will try, but yeah. I'm really looking forward to that because I didn't know that Scholastic had the option for Comic Bookinator. So I'll put links for Comic Bookinator and The Amazing Creature. I'll make sure that those both get links down below.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah,
Scott, absolutely.
Scott did a really fun alternate universe story where Doof is like a late night horror host, and the kids have to recruit him almost in a Fright Night style premise to stop like a giant monster Perry. And then mine is a little. Go ahead.
I was saying, is that what's on the cover? The giant.
That's
monster
right.
Perry?
That's right. Okay. That's right. And then my story is a little more evergreen, but then kind of I kick off the guide rails quickly. But the kids do a backyard maze that then gets hit by Doof's elonginator, which he's using to try to make himself bigger because Roger is always being taller at him on purpose. And when that inator hits the maze, it makes it as big as Danville, and hilarity ensues.
That's awesome.
It's a fun
I
one.
love that there's innators for everything. That always makes me laugh. Because I don't know if I ever told you about this. I think I told this to Dan when he was on. But I was at my buddy's house and I looked down in the sink and they had a garbage disposal and it said "in sink aerator."
Aerator, yes.
And I'm standing there in his kitchen and I just started laughing.
Yep.
And my buddy's like, "What are you laughing about?" And he looked at me like I was a crazy person. I'm like, I'm like, clearly you don't. I'm like, yeah, I went Incinerator.
It's
It says
Incinerator.
Incinerator. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, do you
That's
watch
so
Phineas
good.
and Ferb? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, that's problem number one.
So let's fix that.
Let's fix that so that you can understand why I think this is funny. You need to watch that because all the innators are now in your sink. So
That's it. Well, and what's so funny to me about that is like that's where a lot of the ideas come from. It's like real life. Like one of our amazing writers, Kim Robertson, like I always razz her because she'll come in and we just vent in the writer's room about things that are happening in our lives. And it's like she ends up being doof because she's complaining about the gym or complaining about something that happened with her car. And so we all start laughing and going, no, that's doof. Like, let's give that to doof. And so,
that's
awesome.
Like
that's really the joy of working in that space and with those characters because, yeah, man, if we got something to be grumpy about, you give it to doof.
That's fantastic. I mean, yeah, you might as well have some comic relief fun with your grumpiness. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a way to express like our frustration and our petty angers at the universe.
I love that there's a human element to doof. I've never realized that before, but I love it. It makes him so much more fun.
Agreed.
That makes him so much more fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's switch gears here a little bit because now we've talked about Gyro, we've talked about Phineas and Ferb and the comics that you have coming out. But one of your other loves that we've talked about before, and you're still, as far as I know, the only guy to have written for Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Doctor Who.
Yes, sir.
And now you have obviously the story Waterworld for Big Finish audio dramas.
Yep. Tied to the Moon.
Yeah. And then just recently, I saw that you were invited to the Comic-Con Museum to talk about your storytelling inside of the world of Doctor Who. Walk me through that, and what was that like? Tell me about that experience.
That was a dream come true, man, 100%. So yeah, like you're saying, like years ago, a couple years now, I had the chance to write an original story for the Sixth Doctor, Colin Baker, and we talked about that before. And I've done a couple panels, like I think at WonderCon and maybe one other place, but I don't get to talk about Doctor Who very much because I've only done the one play or production, and since coming on I've actually written two more that are going to be out in 2026 on paper. That's the idea. And I'll hit you guys up again, but yeah, now I've written three and I'm pitching on the fourth. And the last panel that I did, we got into Doctor Who a little bit. And one of the volunteers from the Comic-Con Museum was there and asked me if I'd be interested in coming out. And I was like, yes. How quickly can I say yes? And they had this wonderful day they set up called Storytelling Across Media and asked if I would share about, how to approach writing for audiobooks and how different it is. So it was a cool opportunity to kind of track my path of being a fan in Doctor Who, getting connected to Jack Rayner, who was my producer on the Sixth Doctor, through Phineas and Ferb. Actually, there's a connection there. And Milo Murphy's Law. And then talk about, how to write in someone else's sandbox. Getting into, what the writing process actually is, how it's different from writing a comic and different from writing a TV script. And, just talk about like other at-bats where things didn't work out. One of the things that I haven't talked about much even on here is that before that opportunity came up, I had applied 4 different times to some of their submission contests and got rejected every time. And so I had pitched 4 different Doctor Who stories, 3 Doctor Who stories and 1 Bernice Summerfield. And one of them, I got a little bit of feedback from a producer, which was really, really inspiring. But, even that, like we're talking about Gyro, all of it ends up being a long journey. So it was like by the time that I had started wanting to write for Big Finish, who produces Doctor Who audiobooks, and then got the chance to do it. It was like 15 years. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
getting the chance to share a little bit of that journey with folks who were Doctor Who fans and Phineas and Ferb fans this last weekend was an absolute dream. I would write Doctor Who for the rest of my life. So it was great, man. It was a great time.
That's cool. Yeah,
Thanks,
because I saw your post, not only about the museum, but I saw your post that that you have another one going off into recording.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, he's got another one. That's cool. So I was very excited to see that. But yeah, so I guess my question for you, based on all that information, is, so for those who were not at the panel, what is the biggest difference in your mind between writing a comic book and writing an audio drama, something like the Big Finish stuff?
Yeah, I think it's it's how you're painting that picture of the story, right? So like your chief collaborator in a comic is you're working with a hugely talented artist,
Okay.
and your script for that comic is a letter. You're communicating with that artist. You're asking for things. You're pitching ideas. You're saying, hey, I think this is what this visual is. Here's some dialogue. But that's a very specific collaboration. But for audio, the tool for painting that picture is people's voices, sound effects, and music. I don't have any control over the music. I'm going to rely on the composer to work their magic. So then my only real tools in my toolbox are sound effects, right? To paint a picture using audio cues, and the dialogue. And, you can't just write, look at that 20 times, right? What I think it requires, and again, I've only done 3 of these, and and I think I'm getting better as I do it, but you have to actually invent drama that lends itself to an audio medium. And so then it's about like, oh, okay, if for instance, like, I've written characters who are possessed. That's a really clear get on audio. They change their performance, they change their voice, they alter what they're doing vocally, and you go, ooh, that's scary. And then that's a threat
between the two. Yeah.
Yes. Or it's like, as opposed to, oh, look, there's a monster. Hey, if I get a growl, that helps. But if there's another way to internalize it or use audio, I think it's going to be that much more successful. So that's one of the main things, is trying to come up with whatever that, Doctor Who needs a monster, right? Whatever that monster is that you're building in your episode, whatever that threat is, there's got to be an audio component. In one of these plays that should be out a year from last month, should be October, there are kind of automaton and robot villains. And so my wife and I actually wrote a theme song for them, so that when they recur in the story, you then can take that theme song, adjust it, put it in a minor key, and it gets creepy.
Smart.
Right?
Smart.
So it's like you're using the tools that are the superpowers of that medium. And like, so that my hope is that will be very successful, but I think those are the primary differences.
Okay. No, that makes a whole lot of sense to me, because with comic, you have the visual media, so you can say, hey, look over there, and then you can draw the image, and then
that's it.
But in audio, you've really got to paint the scene, and you've really got to make sure that people are understanding what you're talking about. And I like those. Personally, I like those audio and visual clues. I think that's always really good.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you said, it's like that. It's a different media. So you have to. I think you have to play to the strengths of that media.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Cool. And that's a great answer. It really is. It's I think it's something that we don't always conceptualize from this side of things. So
yeah. And I think listening to Big Finish really taught me that too. So like I had done like my own radio project before that, but like listening to these folks actually do 20, 30, 40 stories, and you're like, God, these are so good. And it's like, oh yeah, this has a different superpower.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. The last scheduled question I have for you tonight,
Yeah, man.
because I kind of came up with a few on the way that kind of elongated some of the other sections before we got to this, but I was having so much fun talking about Euro that I didn't really care in the beginning. But now I kind of care because I ate up some of my time. But so I saw you. It's always in the moment where you regret it the most. But I saw in another interview where you had kind of talked a little bit about mentors. And I've always believed that mentors are in a hugely important part of our personal and professional growth. And it's not just because, hey, they can show you the ropes, but there's lessons that are taught that you can't always find out on your own.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't seen that interview, who would you say would you consider like your greatest mentor, and what was the best lesson you learned from them?
Oh gosh. Well, I definitely feel like I've been blessed by more than one.
Sure, that makes sense.
And I think I count Scott in that group. I count my buddy Rob Porter in that group, who is a board artist on Monsters vs. Aliens with me.
Okay.
But like, and I've learned so much from like Dan and Swampy too. I think largely from my experience, it's like they've given me room to be me. So they've given me a tremendous gift.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so I think if you're somebody who wants to be a mentor, that's something that I think is really, really important. Is you make room for that person so that you can see what they can do. I think as far as advice that I got, I feel like there's things that I come back to all the time. Like Scott Peterson shared years ago, when you're struggling to write, if you can't write, you can type. So even if you're writing something bad, at least you're writing, and then you can edit that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there's practical things, right, that you pick up. And then, gosh, there's things just about like being kind. There's things about like that seem obvious. Like there's things like, don't be a jerk, right? Like there's
that would seem obvious, but yeah,
it seems obvious. But I found over and over again that like I've had people come back to me or reach out to me for things because they just liked working with me. And it's not to pat myself on the back. It's that, be that person, right? Like be that person that people want to be around. And
it's a highly missing skill in these days.
Yeah, man, it certainly feels like it. But yeah, I feel like I've been blessed in that way. Like of people. What's really interesting though is that most folks don't like me very much at first, and then they become my friend. I have noticed, Tim, I don't know if you've noticed. This being my fourth time on the show, that I can be a lot. And sometimes I'm too much for some people.
I totally get that. I've been told that.
Yeah, right. It's
about me. I mean.
Yes. Not just about me. Not just about the people calling you going, gosh, Tim, Josh is a lot. So in between those calls, you are sometimes people are sharing with you that you are a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes. But yeah, I think part of our journey is finding out where we fit and who are your people. And I think sometimes that's easier said than done. But what I've discovered is it's worth the lift every time. And like we were talking about Phineas right now. Like in that writer's room, man, I feel like I found my people. When I'm working with Scott on things like, that's how when you're comfortable being yourself.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And I think that's in of itself is a good advice. Just trying to find a way that you can be yourself, be with the people that can help you to be yourself, so that you're not, so you can be that nice person that the world so God bless and desperately needs right now. Oh boy, howdy do we ever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Well, Josh, thank you again for making some time for us on visit number 4. This was, by the way, I haven't told you this, but the name of this this interview will be the same in the title that I put on the email. It'll be Quattro Podcasto. So, but that will be the title of this interview.
I love it.
But thank you so much for coming back for visit number 4. Where can our listeners, our viewers go to find out more about you and all this great stuff you got coming up? Because guys, we've only scratched the surface of not only the things that he's done, but he's got some really cool stuff coming out that he can't even talk about yet. So you're going to want to follow him.
Next year is going to be nuts, Tim.
I am so looking forward to that.
Cinco Quattro Podcasto is going to be insane next year.
I'm looking forward to that, man.
Insane. If folks are interested in following me, I am at Zombie TARDIS, one word, ZOMBIETARDIS, at on Instagram, and I'm also on Blue Sky if you search Zombie TARDIS.
Okay.
And then Gyro and the Argonauts is available in bookstores now. I'm actually working on the sequel currently.
Oh.
And the Amazing Creature double feature, like I said, will be out before the end of the year. That's also available to pre-order currently. And then next year I would love to come back and talk. I've got a new horror novel coming next Halloween. I've got some new comics for Disney that are not Phineas and Ferb, and
cool.
There's some fun stuff in the pipe.
I see that. Well, you always have an open door here, brother. Anytime you want, all you
Thank
gotta
you,
do is
man.
send me a message and be like, "Hey, I got some stuff to show off," and I'll be
Let's
like,
do
"Yes,
it."
sir. Absolutely." All right. Well, I'll make sure that we have links in the description down below so people can find Gyro. They can find the PNF comic. They can find all the stuff you're working on, and we'll make sure that we put your socials out there too, so they can catch on to the new stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, hey guys, if you haven't caught on already, obviously Josh is a really cool dude, and you should follow him because he posts a lot of really cool stuff. But you also see what he's got going on. But also, if you're not already following the FSF podcast here on this YouTubular channel, I strongly suggest that you do, because as I've said before, much like crying in D&D, this is a free action. So it costs you absolutely nothing to follow our show, and it helps us get more amazing guests like Joshua Pruett here today, and have all these cool stories and fun things for you to be able to listen to. So please consider following our show. It helps out more than we can ever really tell you. And go check out Joshua's work as well. I guarantee you he has done something that you will enjoy. He's got a lot of I guarantee it.
I'm gonna put that on my business card. Have done something you've enjoyed.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, hey, thank you for watching and or listening to the FSF podcast. Thank you to Joshua Pruett for coming back for the 4th time. Looking forward to the 5th. And for all of you playing the home version of this game, may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Copyright 2025 FSF Podcast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.